they have free reign to do what they want, and the United States will not speak up.
Welcome to The
publicly.
Lead. I'm Jake Tapper. We're going to break away from the White House press briefing, and we're going to continue to monitor and bring you any updates from it. But now let's turn to the politics lead. We're now learning that two major key players have been interviewed by Special Counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigators. Fired FBI Director James Comey was, and Attorney General Jeff Sessions was as well. A source telling CNN that Comey spoke to investigators last year, and the New York Times reports that Comey was specifically asked about memos he wrote about his interactions with President Trump. Sources are also telling CNN that Attorney General Jeff Sessions was questioned for several hours last week by Special Counsel Robert Mueller's office, marking the closest member of the Trump administration, the most inner member of the circle, to be interviewed by the special counsel as part of the investigation into Russian election meddling and whether anyone associated with the Trump team worked with the Russians, and then, of course, on the question about whether the president or anyone obstructed justice in the investigation. Breaking news just in right now, the Washington Post is reporting that Special Counsel Mueller is seeking to question President Trump in the coming weeks about his decisions to fire Comey and fire the National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn. My political panel is here with me to talk about all of this. The New York Times is reporting that Comey was asked about the memos he wrote about the conversations with the president. I suppose potentially this is part of a potential obstruction of justice investigation.
Yeah, which has always sort of seemed to me the more likely thing that they land on or find some more convincing evidence of. Look, it's getting closer to the president. I am pleased that at this point, I guess someone has seen the memos. Did Mueller get to see them? Because to my knowledge, we've been talking about them for, what, 8 months, a year, and no one has actually seen them yet, so that will be nice. And I also wonder if Comey is as emo in his interviews as he is on Twitter.
David, what do you make of the Washington Post report that Mueller is seeking to interview President Trump in the coming weeks? That's something that we've been getting. We've gotten mixed messages, frankly, from the president about it. First, an absolute willingness, 100% to participate, and then more of an ambivalence, I think.
Sure. Listen, I don't think it's any surprise to anybody that that Director Mueller, special prosecutor here in this case, is going to want to talk to the president. He looked across Comey, across the table, talked to him, heard from him, and I'm not surprised that anybody thinks that he wouldn't want to do the same with the president.
So you think he'll participate? You'll think he'll...
I don't know. I'm not his counsel. I'm not Ty Cobb. I don't know what he advises, but I don't think the president has anything to hide here at all. And you know, it's up to his counsel. And there's a lot of things that to deal with the role of the presidency, not just Donald Trump's citizen involved in this. So I'm not, executive privilege, and this is the executive branch interviewing the executive branch. A lot of that doesn't apply. So it's a much bigger issue than just Donald Trump talking to Bob Mueller.
And Karine, one of the things that's interesting, I was listening to CNN earlier today, Ken Cuccinelli, the former Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Virginia, a Trump supporter, talking about what he would do were he one of the president's lawyers, and one of the big key bits of advice was, don't speak with hyperbole, don't speak in a braggadocious manner, as President Trump uses that word quite a bit, answer the questions honestly and succinctly.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see Donald Trump actually be able to do that.
I don't think we'll see it.
well, it'll be interesting to hear, or however that goes. But I think Donald Trump does have something to hide. I mean, we know that he fired Comey. He admitted it himself because Comey was, getting too close to the Russia thing. He was trying to protect Flynn. And I think what's interesting about all of this is how far Mueller has come. Right? Donald Trump and Sessions fired Comey to protect Flynn, and now Mueller has basically talked to Flynn, who, as we all know, has been indicted and has pleaded guilty. He's spoken to Sessions, and he's spoken to Comey, and I think that says a lot as to how far he's gotten. And now it makes sense that Donald Trump would be.
I'm not sure I ever thought he wasn't going to talk to those people. What exactly would the investigation be?
But it happened really quickly. It happened.
I guess he's doing. But the word from the beginning was that this would be efficient. So I'm actually kind of.
We just found
out about it, David.
Well, just to kind of what you're saying, right? So your narrative is that the president fired fired Comey because he was getting too close to the Russia thing, right?
And here we are.
But here we are at the end, right? And there is no Russia thing, right? There is no. If there was a Russia thing and it involved General Flynn, he wouldn't have been let off the hook with.
But we don't know that.
With basically a speeding ticket, right?
Yeah, we don't.
Well,
to be
but you can't have both. You can't have it both ways, right?
To be precise, what the president said was he was thinking about the Russia thing when he fired Comey. That's what he told Lester Holt.
Yes.
I think you're projecting some motivation there.
Right.
But also just
to
fact check her. Let me fact check you. We also don't know. We have no idea. We don't
know what his
we,
mens rea was at the exact time, right?
But we don't know what Mueller has. We don't know if there is something there. We don't know if there isn't.
I would suspect that, from what you've been seeing and hearing, right, that at the end of the day, Russia is comes